It's time to meet our players. Introducing to you first, a Europe Cup singles winner, a Lakeside champion of the world. It's the bronze Adonis, Steve Beaton! Ladies and gentlemen, 7 PDC tournament ranking event wins, and he is the reigning champion of the world. It's Voltage Rob Cross!
The action continues. Day 3, the final day of the Austrian Darts Open. Wins so far for Michael Smith, for Joe Cullen, and for Gerwyn Price. Wayne Jones, one of the few qualifiers in the field at the start of play today, is on his way home. Rob Cross was almost on his way home yesterday. He came through an almighty tussle with Steve West, somehow winning it 6-5, and somehow Steve West missing 7 darts for the match. Steve Beaton, a former world champion himself, up against the current PDC world champion Rob Cross. And Rob Cross will have to have his wits about him once again, you feel. Beaton, a European Tour finalist last year, nearly going all the way in Maastricht at the Dutch Darts Masters, where he had a very, very good run before losing to Michael van Gerwen in the final. 23rd on the order of merit these days. Rob Cross significantly higher. Rob Cross a very different beast to the man he was 12 months ago. And one of the most popular players on the circuit for the fans here as well. He's one of the men they all want to see, and there was a genuine sense of excitement and anticipation ahead of this match. We had a slight delay, so thanks for your patience, but we are about to get started once again.
First leg, Rob to throw first. Game on!
Paul Nicholson's having a breather. Dan Dawson alongside me for this one. Good afternoon, Dan.
Good afternoon. A clash of world champions, but one in
85.
Steve Beaton, who, as you say, he had a battle to get here, but it was a high-quality battle where you felt that whether it was Beaton or Luke Humphries came through that, they'd earned their place there. Rob Cross, gifted. There is no way around it. Rob Cross could win his first European Tour title this weekend, and it is purely down to the luck of getting through that second round game, because he should have lost. He was the second best player against Steve West. Steve West was all over him, and then he missed, and he missed, and he missed, and he missed again with the win in his hands.
121.
But sometimes you need a bit of luck. He is, after all, the only player to have won a World Darts Championship and have 2 separate players miss match darts against him during that campaign.
Michael Smith and Van den Berg. Well,
Van Gerwen.
And Van den Berg pushed him close as well.
Van den Berg nearly got match darts.
Nearly got match darts. He was 4-1 down and clawed it back, and yeah.
But yeah,
that was another bullet dodge.
Talking how many? I think it's 9 match darts he survived over the course of the entire tournament from 2 separate games, and more. Look, he won.
And people say these things tend to even themselves out, but with Rob Cross, you just wonder sometimes. I mean, here again.
Some sort of Faustian pact.
44.
What evil things has Rob Cross agreed to do for this to happen for him?
140. Robbie Maguire, 110.
110 needed, 1 treble. Beaton on double 19. Oh, that ain't going to happen, is it, Rob?
Rob Cross, twice a finalist in his debut season on the European Tour. We talked about candidates for a first-time European Tour win this weekend, and before we mentioned Joe Cullen earlier, certainly Rob Cross very much falls into that category as well.
Beaton's won one before. He was the German darts master back in 2013.
140.
Had a horrific time of it, though, in Austria last year, did Rob Cross. He was dumped out in the second round by Jelle Klassen without winning a leg. It was his worst performance on the European Tour by some distance. All the events he qualified for. He failed to qualify for the first 2 European Tour events of 2017. Only missed one more after that. That was the European match play, and then he turned up in Austria, and he was with us for about 10 minutes, and then he went home.
Yeah, you're going to get beaten 6-0. It won't take very long. You're going to get beat 6-0 by Jelle Klassen. It'll take even less time.
6.
Although, of course, he did have a first-round match in Austria as well, as he came through qualifying for that one.
100. Robbie Maguire, 121.
Well, 6 darts here for Cross to break back straight away. He might only need 3.
Lovely stuff. Double 18. He loves double 18. Much more like it, Rob Cross. 12 darter, ton plus checkout. 1 apiece in this one as the world champion finally turned up. Well, the final day of action here in Graz.
He was quite good on his finishing, though, Rob Cross, yesterday. 6 from 11 in the end. More so than Steve West, you could argue. 94.95 the average, 2. Winning 3 legs on the spin to snatch it at the end.
Wasn't convincing, though, was it?
Far from it.
Felt like he was the second best player throughout that game. And then it turned out he was the best player because Steve West couldn't hit a winning double. And that's how darts works.
96.
But still waiting for one of those weekends from Rob Cross, and one of those days which we saw a few times last year. I mean, 4 times prior to the World Championship. He went all the way through a day.
82.
And beat everybody. He was the best player, and there were regular 107 averages, 106, 108, 105, those sort of numbers.
95.
And there were times last year as well where he was only getting beaten by Michael van Gerwen, and he was still producing that kind of stuff. Van Gerwen was having to play somewhere near his best to stop him. And we haven't really seen that from Rob Cross this year. Beaton. Ooh. I thought for a moment Steve Beaton was going to present the big one.
Patience, young man. Wait your turn.
90. Stevie West, 65.
Beaton 65. Make that 40. Make that tops.
45.
Make that double 10. But will he get the chance? Rob Cross
32.
to back up the break in the previous leg with double 16 here for a 2-1 lead. Yes, finishing very efficiently once again with his first start at the double. 2 from 2 so far on the latest one.
I didn't get much of a chance to talk to Rob last night after his win over Steve West. I think, to be honest, he just wanted to get out. He knew he'd been given a lifeline and just wanted to leave it, forget about it, and come back and prepare for today.
140.
But it was boiling in here last night, and Rob Cross, you could just see the sweat pouring off his big bald head. It's very, very similar to that. If anything, it feels a bit warmer in here today.
It feels a lot warmer outside, and I wouldn't say it's boiling, but it's simmering nicely.
But it's gonna, whoever
it's
comes
gonna be,
through and wins this, they might have lost about 2 stone by the end of it. It'd be like being in a sauna all day.
Any jockeys failing to make the weight this week, or struggling to make the weight this week for the big meeting at Newmarket, just come here for the afternoon session, and you will lose at least a stone and a half.
Yeah, I mean, don't try the catering. I mean, that won't help you.
140.
Just being in here, I mean, it is roasting, and you can see it with Rob Cross. I was talking about this last night. Adam Hunt was saying how hot it was up there. He said within a leg, the sweat was pouring off me. Paul Nicholson said the same thing. As Beaton levels this game up on double top.
And Joe Cullen made a good point as well after his match against Mervyn King in the chat he had on stage, and he said, you know, I think I handled the heat better than Mervyn did, and I think that comes down to the fact I'm a lot younger than Mervyn. There was no disrespect there. It's just, I mean,
it's a fact.
I think King would agree with that. I think it could be a factor today.
96.
Steve Beaton, though, he will ignore such things about age, and
he's the bronzed Adonis.
he loves the heat. He thrives in temperatures of 120 in the shade.
If he wasn't playing here, he'd probably be back in North Walsham in Norfolk, where he lives, and either down the beach, chip oil and speedos, liberally applied,
140.
or probably on the sunbed. That's not what people look like normally. That takes some work. That's like a sort of...
That's been harnessed over time.
Yeah, that's a sort of human creosote that's been applied. So Rob Cross, what's to stop Rob Cross getting like a full-on John McEnroe sweatband? Like, you can get a sponsor on there. I mean, like, you can see he's literally mopping his brow. It's going to be an issue for him today.
67.
His sponsors, they can make a sweatband, anything. Got voltage written across the front of it.
That'd be great.
Oh, I think it'd be incredible. I mean, it might look ridiculous, but it would be funny. And ultimately, that's the point.
40.
I'm going to have a word with tournament director Graham Fairhurst to see if players are allowed to do that.
I don't know what the rules are. I'm fascinated. I want to see it. I want to see double 4 now for a 68 checkout and a 3-2 lead for the world champion. Double 2 will have to do. And it goes. 15 darter.
To make it Steve to throw first. Game on.
It's another performance from Rob Cross, which has not
87.
dazzled. It's enough, and ultimately that's all that matters. And you know, if James Wade were up here doing this, you'd just be going, typical Wadey, doing enough. He's an absolute master. He's just grinding this. Yeah, Wadey's got, he could average another 10, 15 points if he wanted to. He's James Wade. Rob Cross, you expect him to go and average 107 every time he sets up. And when it doesn't, you feel a little bit shortchanged. But the thing is, if he wins, who cares?
There was never a little asterisk that says, but in round 2 he was lucky against West, and in round 3 he only averaged 94. There's none of that. It just says
world champion. World champion in debut season, in the greatest story ever told. It doesn't say, oh yeah, but what about Michael Smith? What about that Michael Van Gerwen game? Doesn't say that. He's Rob Cross world champion. Got his own darts being released as a commemorative set for his world championship win. It's like boys' own stuff.
134.
Beaton is just being Steve Beaton with a sort of low 90s average and in with a very, very good chance
133.
of just putting in there'll be a 12 darter somewhere where Steve Beaton goes, thank you very much, there's the break, and now he wins the game. That's the plan.
Games on the 6 there, Steve Beaton.
And the plan is working very well indeed. He is very much involved in this, 3 apiece. We're going with the throw. We had a couple of early breaks.
41.
I don't think 1 second Rob Cross would have underestimated the challenge here against Steve Beaton.
100.
Beaton on his day is a big, big danger. Winner of this to face Gerwyn Price in the quarterfinals from 7:15 this evening.
100.
And it will be even hotter then tonight. 7:15 we start, 4 quarterfinals, 2 semis and the final itself.
43.
Remember, first to 7 in the semis, first to 8 in the final. But yeah, it's a little bit ploddy this from Rob Cross. As you say, I'm not really too bothered about that as long as he comes through. 93.6 the average, 90.7 for Steve Beaton at the moment.
100.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Rob Cross held his throw here and then just pounced in the next leg anyway and just turned the screw a little bit. Or it could work the other way.
Well, that's it. You know, the longer it stays close,
when the break comes, it will be,
yeah,
obviously it will be significant as we run out of race.
Now, Beaton has given himself a very real chance here. 118 left, 1 treble needed. Rob Cross 60-60 tops. There's a 60. There's a 60.
And in that ever so familiar style, he just takes a moment, but only a single 20. Now, Steve Beaton. Can he apply pressure here? 58 away, tops then for another break of throw. Steve Beaton with a 1:18 checkout, and there is the all-important timely break.
Steve may not be beaten. 5 years since the bronzed Adonis won his only European Tour title in the Glaspalast in Sindelfingen, an ever-present venue on the Euro Tour. Stevie Beaton beat Mervyn King in the final, but there were some world-class displays on the way there. Beat Simon Whitlock in the semis with a 100 average. Beat Brendan Dolan with a 98.
100.
Beat Jamie Caven with a 96. He started with a 103.66 average and a 6-0 demolition of Mick Todd. Steve Beaton was excellent that weekend. 6-0, 6-1, 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, and then 6-5 in the final.
60.
And he had some very good figures in his run to the final in Holland last year as well. 102.6 the average against John Henderson, 101.2 against Peter Wright in the semi-finals. He beat Suljevic that weekend as well.
Look, we're reeling off numbers here for you, and we're reeling off numbers that say that Steve Beaton, a man in his early 50s, is still capable. He was capable 5 years ago when he won one of these. He was capable when he won a final of one of these last year. He was capable when he won a title last year on the Pro Tour, and he's capable now.
And he beat Rob Cross in that Pro Tour run as well, and Gary Anderson.
96.
He's got a 2-1 winning record against Rob Cross. There aren't many people who've got a winning record against Rob Cross. I think, in actual fact,
100. 112.
there are 8 players. Gary Anderson, Michael Van Gerwen, Steve Beaton is one of them. And Rob Cross cannot take out the 112, which means Beaton could go within a leg of the quarterfinals.
Ooh.
Oh, well, it can be done. Now, does he go treble 13? Treble 13 or treble 19? What's it to be? I think he's looking at the 13s. And he can't hit it, and that is so frustrating. He should have had a dart at the bullseye, although having gone for the bullseye there and missed it by a yard, it wouldn't really matter. He's usually pretty good on double 6, Rob Cross.
Yeah, if you're going to miss that treble 20, miss above or below, not to the side. And Rob Cross does find double 6, and he breaks back straight away, as was the case. Beaton broke in the first leg, Cross broke back straight away, and it's happened again here. Beaton just can't establish that cushion. He's had opportunities to just kick on here, and now Rob Cross is responding in kind with a 180. The world champion just finds something here. Beaton needs to hang on.
Rob Cross was playing consistently world-class darts on the European Tour last year. Made a load of quarterfinals, 2 finals, beaten in both of them by Michael Van Gerwen. Rob Cross could actually go and win his first Euro Tour title this weekend, playing nowhere near as well as he did last year, and just find a way. Oh my word, that's a good one.
77.
Skewered by Beaton.
I'll leave that there. Well, there's a gap here.
133.
And it's just got a little bit wider as well. And Rob Cross is very much in control of this one. Beaton just seems to have lost his way. It's just turned on a sixpence this match, isn't it? Instant break back. Rob Cross out of the blocks very quickly in this ninth leg. And now looking at tops to take a 5-4 lead, having trailed 4-3. And it's advantage to the world champion, the number 2 seed, Rob Cross, working hard again here as he did yesterday. Not having to work as hard as he did yesterday, but Beaton, can he come good again?
And those numbers tell you a story. Steve Beaton now finds himself, you know, he's in danger of going out very, very soon. And it's not because his level has dropped. Beaton has played at his level right the way through the game. It was good enough against Rob Cross in the early stages. But Cross has raised his game, and so often the very best players, when they need to, they can find something extra. We've seen it in the Premier League from Rob Cross a number of times.
100.
We've seen it at the World Championship. When he really needs to, he can find something. And that 11 darter for Rob Cross there has put him in charge of this match.
Вирусная угроза была
He's had
обнаружена.
to have a bit of luck. I mean, he could have been beaten before this point. He could have already been knocked out. 6-3 or something like that.
And those two Sun-Plus finishes you see there, both securing breaks of throw as well. So they've come up with the big numbers when they really meant something. I'd like to see a decider here.
I think you might get one, Rob.
I think Beaton deserves at least an 11th leg here.
Well, everybody wants to experience Beaton in the full length of the 11-leg format.
91. Figure 157.
138 for Rob Cross, and he will get a go at it.
85.
I'm not quite sure which route Rob Cross is going. Sometimes he'll knock off odd numbers, but I think it was straight at the treble 20. No, it's the 18s he went, and he needed to find the treble. So Beaton, 72 to take us all the way. Beautiful. Wonderful.
Well, we talked about two dart combinations earlier on as well with Michael Smith, and that was another delicious example from Steve Beaton there.
Well, Rob Cross survived seven match darts from Steve West yesterday.
How many match darts will be carved out here? How many opportunities will be created? Or will it just be pounced upon at the first time of asking by either of these two? Sluggish starts from both in this deciding leg. 60 for Beaton. What can he put in here? Moves downstairs, tries to salvage this visit. One trouble there for Beaton. Very, very close indeed. Now a visit here without a treble for Cross, and Beaton may well start to believe. Well, there's one.
125.
Great recovery by the world champion. Still not clear yet, though. There's still an opportunity for Beaton to get back on terms, but again, he can't find a significant treble.
Hearing Steve Beaton talk yesterday after his victory, he was just so enthusiastic. This is what it's about playing in front of 2,000 screaming fans up on the stage for big money against the best players in the world. Well, Steve, this is your chance. You're against the world champion, and you're not seizing it, Steve.
The trebles have deserted him in this last leg, but they're not deserting Rob Cross.
140.
He started this leg poorly, but he's just grown into it, and he's been allowed to grow into it because Steve Beaton hasn't put him under enough pressure.
Nah, too little, too late.
That is a great effort. He's on a check-out, which he can take out in only one treble, but he's relying on Rob Cross missing. Rob Cross survived 7 match darts yesterday, but he will not pay it forward and give Beaton a lifeline. Rob Cross, tournament favourite this weekend. He hasn't played like it yet, but he's given himself a chance. He's in the final session of action at the Austrian Darts Open. Voltage will go in search of his first Euro Tour title tonight in a quarter-final lineup with the Welsh #1, Gerwyn Price. That is one half of the draw completed. 4 more games this afternoon will set up the second half of the draw, and we continue with Darrell Gurney, the Northern Irish #1, against Darren Webster, the #1 from Lilliput.
Warming up, boy.
Yeah, toasting.
Cracking game. Last leg, held it all together, all nice and tight. Got in for the kills. What champions do, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not being funny. I got broke twice in that game and trailed and managed to find a way to win. Sometimes, always good to do that. The crowd was amazing again. Thank you. But in fairness, yeah, just not quite firing. Maybe the heat, I don't know. I can't really feel the darts very well. And at the end, 140 to lead 32, and I'd always go that way. But I thought, I'm going to slip it and hit a 180. So I was grateful I didn't.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you're in the quarterfinals. You can go and get yourself ready, prepped, and up for that one. And we'll see you just a little bit later on this evening. Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, Voltage, Rob Cross.